Chris.
Good to see a really good group of people, and there's still more coming because I know some people had other things that they were doing tonight, but they want to come to this, so there will be a few more people traipsing in or sneaking into the back. So hopefully they don't have to come all the way up the front and make it really obvious, but they've given their apologies if they have to. So I just want to thank you all. It's a beautiful summer evening out there, so thanks everyone for making this a priority and being here, because we've got some really exciting information for you to hear. I know what we've got is absolutely incredible because I've heard all the stories and things, and it's pretty good. So what I want to do is welcome up a really special guest. We're very lucky to have him here. Our guest speaker is currently living in Aspen, or just out of Aspen in Colorado. And so him and his wife Krista have come over here, and we've sort of dragged them away from their holiday a little bit. I went over to Golden Bay, I've not long been back, and I went and picked Michael up so that he could be here and share some of the stories. So Michael has been with Life Force for a long time now, and if it wasn't for Michael and Krista, we certainly wouldn't have it in New Zealand. They've got a real connection to New Zealand, and they were over here holidaying one day, and somebody local met up with them and asked what they were up to. And that's how this actually began in New Zealand about 14 years ago. So Michael's background is as an economist. He's a businessman, very, very successful businessman. And with this journey, partnered with Krista, who's a nutritionalist and a product formulator. He's learned a lot about the product as well. So I want everybody to join in with me and give Michael Jude a warm welcome.
Thank you, Jackie, and thanks all of you for coming. And I hope you can get something out of tonight. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the products. First, I want to talk about my experience with the products. And this goes back 15 years. I first found Body Balance 15 years ago. And for me, it was an interesting journey because I was somebody who had a hard time getting up in the morning. Now, that may sound pretty common, but I was in a brain fog till about 10 or 11 in the morning, no matter what. I tried the stimulants like coffee and sugar and caffeine and all that stuff. And the body was awake, but I wasn't present. And maybe some of you can relate to that. But what I found pretty quickly after taking Body Balance was that not only did I get more present, but I had more energy through the day. And got even better because I actually found I went to sleep easier, and I slept a lot better than I had in years. Now, I don't know if you have trouble sleeping, but that seems to be a very common thing, especially as we get older, getting a good night's sleep, and it's so important to good health. But I found a couple of other things that left me feeling really strong about this product. One of them was that I found my immune system got a lot stronger. Now, I was the kind of guy that was what I call a cold magnet, meaning if some of you were in the room and I was in the room, and I noticed you were sniffling or sneezing, I would avoid you because I knew I would get that cold. And I would get probably 3, 4, 5 of them a year, it depends on the year. And when I'd get them, I'd get them down, and just like normal. That was kind of normal. Maybe some of you recognize that. Well, here it is 15 years ago, and I've had 3 colds since then. 3 instead of 3 a year. And what's exciting to me about that too is that I noticed my immune system was operating better because I had a reason to know this. If I cut myself, it would take about 2 weeks, 14 days to heal over and scab and look like normal skin. It takes 8 days now. 8 days. It's almost half. The other thing I know is that with the pandemics going around, I don't know all the names, swine flu and flu and all these things, you know what they are, right? There's no way to escape them because like here in Nelson and the rest of the world, people travel and these things get communicated around. We can't avoid them. The only thing I know to do these days is to have a very strong immune system, have my body be able to resist, and if I do get something, to recover quickly. And I've got a feeling we haven't seen the last of those. I haven't heard of one recently, but these things, they're out there. And the name of the game these days is strong immune system. Now, I am not a nutritionist, I'm not a counselor or anything like that. My wife is, and she's quite good at it. But I understand that the basis of cancer now is a weak immune system. I didn't know that. I thought people just, you have bad genes, you got cancer, you got unlucky, or you got exposed to something. Yeah, that stuff's true too. But what I have found out is that if your immune system's operating properly, it won't stick. I found this out from a medical doctor. He said, yeah, strong immune system, everybody's got the cancer in them, but it doesn't stick, it doesn't take. So I don't know what that means for you. It may mean nothing, may mean everything, but I know I want my immune system operating at top efficiency. The other thing I noticed, and this is important for me, I was introduced very generously. I do work with my mind a lot, my brain. And gosh, 15 years ago, let me see, I'm 60 now, I was 45, I noticed that I had trouble remembering things, like where are the keys, who is this person, did I ever meet them, what's today, what's the phone number? And I thought, yeah, well, I'm getting old. That's what happens. That's part of getting old. You start getting a little spacey. But I found out that that's not true. Because when I started drinking Body Balance, what I found out pretty quickly, I found out my memory got better. That was the first thing I noticed. I could remember things. I could remember people's names, phone numbers. My short-term memory and long-term memory got better. My ability to focus and concentrate got better too. You may not have had this, but I read a bit, and I'd read a book, and I'd get about a quarter of the way down the page, and I'd have to go back, because I didn't remember what I just read, and I was just spacing out, reading the words and not understanding them. But now I found my comprehension and my retention are way better. So this is not only body food, but it's brain food. Another thing that I noticed was I was a pretty stressed guy. I was living in the world, like all of us. But I was finding myself pretty upset about a lot of stuff. Mood swings and anger and this and that. Now, the world hasn't changed. If anything, it's gotten a little crazier, a little nuttier out there. But I'm not so stressed. My brain is being fed. My brain isn't as stressed. As a matter of fact, there's more stuff out there. Traffic's worse, there's more cell phones and more advertising, more all that stuff out there. But I'm a happy chappy. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling less stressed. So maybe none of that's important to you, maybe some of that's important to you. Here's the thing I know. This is a whole body tonic. It's pretty simple in its, I can describe it simply. It's 9 wild sea vegetables and organic aloe vera. But why I'm excited about it is that has over 120 vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, essential fatty acids, antioxidants, phytonutrients, and on. Why that's important is because in today's world, if you're eating food and you're not eating the right kind of food, and I'll talk about that in a minute, if you're not getting fed, if it's not in the food, you're not getting it in your body. Now, let me back up. We eat all organic, biodynamic, whenever possible. We eat very, very well. And yet, I mentioned my wife is a nutritionist. She's let me know that we need minerals every day. Let me give you a little story. Like my grandparents, they could probably eat out of their garden plot and do very well. Because, first of all, there was a lot less stress in the world. The pace was a lot slower. There weren't automobiles and pollution, and it wasn't the pace of life. What's happened is the pace of life and the stress has picked up a lot. And what happens when we get stressed is we burn minerals. We don't actually burn them, but we kind of burn minerals. And we burn an incredible amount of them. Now, put that aside for a minute, because over here, the food supply has gotten weaker. It's gotten more compromised. Because what happens is the farmers, and some of you may be farmers, so I'm not trying to pinpoint you as bad people, but the commercial farms are cropping these soils. In the old days, they used to do what? They used to let the soil lie fallow, right? They crop it and probably didn't use a lot of chemicals, I don't know, but they did it a different way. Today, the way the food's produced to feed this many more people, they're running these farms like big machines. And look, if it's not in the soil, it's not going to be in the food. And if it's not in the food, you're not going to get it. You need over 80 essential minerals every day. Essential meaning you got to get them through your food. You can't make them. You can't borrow them. You either get them in your food or you don't have them. And if you don't have them, your body doesn't function properly. That's what I was experiencing. Poor mental state, fatigue, the body was being run down, stress, immune system wasn't functioning properly, I wasn't present. And for a lot of people that also can add up to putting on extra pounds, maybe system failure. Certainly it's not a healthy state. So if it's not in the food and you're not getting it in your body, that could be the cause of why we're seeing these pandemics of cancer, diabetes, arthritis. I mean, the list goes on. You guys know what it is. Multiple fatigue, what do they call it? What is it called when you're fatigued? Chronic fatigue. Yeah, and on and on. These were not big diseases during our grandparents' time, like we see them now. So something shifted, and what it is, the food supply. Now, why is this important? Because the sea veggies are grown in the ocean, in the sea. They're wild. And what happens, you know, when you got the farm out there, and you get the rain, and what happens? The topsoil washes down to the creek, which goes to the river, which goes where? To the oceans. So these minerals end up in the ocean. Interesting thing, I've heard this, I'm not a scientist, but if you look at ocean water and you look at blood, the composition is very similar. You've probably heard something like that. What happens is when these sea vegetables grow wild in the ocean, they uptake these minerals and the rest of the nutrients, and that's how we get them in our body. That's how we get them. Now, most of you, if you're like me, you don't see, oh great, I'll have a big bowl of gloopy old seaweed for breakfast. You know, oh, sounds pretty disgusting, doesn't it? This stuff tastes good. It actually, I don't know if we have any samples tonight, but you certainly can get some to try it. It actually tastes good, and it's good for you. The other piece about it I want to mention is the aloe vera. It's an organic aloe vera, and probably all of us have had a sunburn or a scratch or a cut, and you know, you rub a little aloe on it, and it feels good, and it heals fast. Feels good, heals good, right? What do you think would happen if you were to drink aloe vera every day? Well, I can just imagine that it's going to work all through my digestive system, heal that, or make it function better. It's going to work its way out through the blood and the organs and the skin, and I'm going to look better and feel better. And a lot of people who drink aloe vera report that. Now, I mentioned sea veggies aren't particularly appetizing, and for me, neither is aloe vera. I've tried drinking it before, and it just wasn't my thing. I couldn't get past the taste. But what they've done, what the company's done, is formulated this product, again, with 128 vitamins and minerals and essential fatty acids, amino acids, and on and on and on, stuff I don't even understand. But it's there in food. It's not something you can't pronounce. It's not some guy in a lab jacket said, well, we'll have 6 of these and 26 of those, and we'll make it up in a special formula. This is food. It's superfood. Superfood. And when you get it in your body, you will notice the difference. As a matter of fact, the company feels so good about it, they actually make a pretty generous offer. Now, don't try this at your local supermarket, because it probably won't work. But you can order this for 3 months, 90 days. You can keep it coming as much as you want to drink, and on your 89th or 90th day, you can ring them up on the 800 number and say, you know what, this isn't for me. I just don't like the color of the bottle, or I don't like what it does. And they'll say, okay, great, we'll give you all your money back for the last 3 months. So how cool is that? I mean, the company really believes in this stuff. We've been producing it for over 28 years. For the first probably half of that, 14, 15 years, you could only get it through a licensed healthcare practitioner, like a doctor or a chiropractor or a naturopath. That's how it was sold. And there was a big market for it. But about 15 years ago, the company said, well, we want a bigger distribution, and we want to empower people in their lives, and we'll talk about that after we hear from some people, about how we can get this to people and have it be available. Have it be available. So for the last 15 years, we've been selling it around the world. There's millions of people who've used it and love it and swear by it. They actually, we have meetings like this, and people stand up and say, Well, I had, pick one, diabetes, arthritis, chronic fatigue, on and on. And this, when I started taking this, all my symptoms went away, and that was 8 years ago, and I'll take this the rest of my life. And people say that. We don't pay them, we don't invite them, they say that because it's true. I don't know if companies, the drug company, and I'm not anti-drug, those things are great, but I don't know if any other product that I've ever heard of can make those kinds of claims and stand behind them with a multi-decade company that says, yeah, we believe in enough, you can try it, run with it for 3 months, give it a good trial, and if you don't like it, we're happy to give you all your money back. So it's a great product, and it feels good. I'll take it the rest of my life. I just feel good when I take it. I drink quite a bit of it. Most people drink, a modest amount. But I love the energy. I don't drink coffee. I don't need it, don't want it, and love coffee, but I just don't like what it does. I'll drink this stuff, though, because I get a lot of energy from it, and especially the way it feeds my brain and my immune system. So enough on this, Body Balance. Urge you to try it if you haven't. But I was invited to talk about our new product, which is very exciting because my wife, Krista, who sends her regrets, she wanted to be here. For those of you that were hoping she'd be here, you get me instead. Better or worse? We have a new product, and the product line is called Be New. And so I want to talk a little bit about these two parts of the product. This is a Bill. I was talking with Bill earlier, and we were talking about America and New Zealand, and he was saying, yeah, you've got a big weight problem in America, and I agree. People are it's a big problem. And it has to do with the rise of fast food. My parents, we didn't eat out. Eating out was something, we didn't do it. And maybe not you young people, but some of you guys my age, that wasn't done. It just wasn't available, and it was too expensive, and we just all ate at home. But now, in America, people eat sometimes 2 of their 3 meals out. But they're not eating at, fine dining. They're eating at Macca's and, all the fast food. And I believe that that's why there's such an obesity problem. And it is a problem. It's a huge problem. And it's not just an aesthetic problem. It's not just that it looks different. It's very, very, very unhealthy. And probably everybody knows that, right? That the information's out there. But, and no offense, Bill, but I was told by Kiwis that the statistic is that New Zealand has actually surpassed America in terms of obesity on a per capita basis. 3 million people, 300 million, but on a per capita. And I met my wife here 20 years ago. I'm here like every year for not quite half the year, because then I'd have to be a citizen. But the point is that I have watched the New Zealanders and the Australians. The general health is declining. And it's not because people are any less wonderful. It has to do with what we talked about with the body balance. So it is a problem, and it's a big problem, because who wants to live a shorter life or be unhappy or be ill because of excess weight? So this product addresses that. This product addresses that. This is a weight management system. Now, I want to explain why I take this. And you guys may go, well, you're not fat. No, I don't feel fat, and I'm not doing it for appearance. What I know is that the average person, even somebody with a slender exterior, but particularly if you're carrying around extra weight, there's something called visceral fat. And I didn't even know about this, but visceral fat is what you want to get rid of. Hey, it may not be attractive to have extra pounds on, but that won't kill you as quickly as the visceral fat will. Now, this may be news for some of you, so I'll try to explain it the best I know. I'm not a scientist. But the visceral fat is the fat that lives inside your body, and it's around your organs, and it coats, it's like a jelly, unhealthy, living organism that is in your body, and it actually produces a set of metabolic waste products, and it's a whole living system. And it creates inflammation in the body. And inflammation is what you don't want in your body. You don't want extra inflammation in your body. It's very unhealthy to have this visceral fat. So, that said, why is this product special? Well, let me address that. First of all, my wife, Krista, some of you know, was one of the primary formulators of this. And for those of you who know Krista, she's extremely health conscious. You know, we eat all organic. We're probably some of the healthiest people because of her influence on me primarily. I would eat guy food if I didn't know any better. But she's pretty smart about this stuff. What's in here is about 4 or 5 main ingredients, which I'll describe briefly and then tell you why this works. First of all, there's something in here called white kidney bean. And white kidney bean, and guys, forgive me if I get this wrong, but you know, she sends her regrets. But the white kidney bean has a capacity to allow the cells to release fat. Now, interesting thing that I didn't know, when you die, you have approximately the same number of fat cells as when you're born, more or less. You don't get more fat, it's just the cells start ballooning with fat. What this does is this allows the cells, the signaling from the brain and the rest of the body to say, okay, you can release the fat now. Because what happens is once we get into this unhealthy syndrome, the hormone balance goes off and the signaling gets mixed up and the body starts collecting fat. You may have plenty of it and it's still grabbing more and it's storing it. You want to send the right signals, and that allows the body to process the right signals. Okay, that's one ingredient. Another ingredient is raspberry ketones. And raspberry ketones have a similar property in that they allow the cells, again, to begin to release the fat. We've got green coffee bean extract. Now, that's pretty new, the green coffee bean. I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but that's a remarkable ingredient. And I'm not up on all the science behind it, but the chlorogenic acid is something that will allow you to lose and maintain a healthy weight. There's another element in here, and it's called African mango. And I want you to notice, these are all foods. Did you notice that? There's nothing here that stuff I can't pronounce. These are all foods. Very safe. It actually allows the body to signal when you, maybe you haven't done this, but I have. Eat a big meal, feel stuffed. About 5 minutes later, walk over to the fridge, scratching myself, open up, what can I eat in here? You ever have that happen? Yeah? I mean, you go, what is this? This is nuts. What it is the signaling. There's a signal from your gut to the brain, and there's a hormone called leptin. And what happens is the leptin receptors are blocked or shut down. Your stomach's saying, I'm full, I'm bursting at the seams, and the brain is not receiving the signal, so you go looking for more food. It helps restore that. So your body helps to regulate it, so you're not eating as much. Okay? And the point about that is that this stuff works, and it works beautifully. And why I say that is because having studied weight management systems, there's a couple things you want to know about this. First of all, it works fast. Okay, it works fast. Within weeks, people are seeing 5, 10, and over months, 20 and 30 kilo loss. That's huge. I mean, that's big stuff. The other thing is safe. Now you don't want, you may have heard crash dieting is not safe. And I believe that's true, because if you're releasing a lot of toxins in your body and you're flooding your body, you can feel sick, tired, you can feel nauseous, and it could be unsafe for you. Well, this is very safe because it's part of a system. The first part, which I don't have displayed here, is called Be Pure. You do it for 7 days, and it actually cleanses your liver and your organs and your gut. Along with that, you're taking this, the Be Lean, which is a metabolic booster. It boosts your metabolism and does the other things I mentioned. And the third part is this, which is a meal replacement, which is a full, high-quality meal replacement. So together, these provide a safe and effective way not only to lose the pounds, both the visceral fat and the exterior fat, but to keep it off. And that's important. I don't know if any of you have dieted before, but if you've lost it and you've gotten it back and been real disappointed, well, this helps to not do that. Okay? So the product is available. It's we launched it about a month ago in the US. We have about 100 people who did extensive beta testing before. We've got pictures, we've got the testimonials. We have beta testers now in New Zealand who are using it, getting wonderful results. And it's on the high seas, it's on its way here. So you can be the first to have it in New Zealand if you choose. We're going to have some samples later. You can do a taste test. But maybe now, Jackie, we could have some people come up and share their experience with these products.
Sure. Thank you, Michael. Right, and some of you, when you rushed in, were focused on the people in the room. There are some pictures up there of before and afters that we've just had laminated of people who have been using the product in the States, so you get a bit of an idea how powerful that is. And I mean, myself, I've tried some of the Be Lean as well, and it's really interesting because I mean, I'm definitely not overweight, and I actually felt the changes from the product working on that visceral fat and the cleansing effect, and it's an amazing energy booster too, so I love it for that. So we'll get some stories happening. So Sarah, can I get you to come up and share your story? So Sarah's a single mum. Sorry, she's not a single mum. She is a single mum. Let me clarify that. She is until tomorrow. She is single part of the time because her husband works on a cruise ship. So she's at home with the kids managing a lot of the time while he's away, and so do share how that goes and how the product works for that. Is that a good recovery?
Thank you, Jackie. Our story started with our daughter, Matilda, who at 7 months old burst out in chronic eczema, and happened very quickly. She'd always had slight inflammation in her body looking back. Now that I down the path, when she was born, she was Rosie. My husband called her a little raspberry. It was just quite endearing, but she clashed with a lot of her colourful pink clothes. And then when this happened, he was away at the time, and so I just sort of went into what can I do. I tried many different health remedies, different creams. I was having to apply cream to her 4 to 5 times a day. At night time, I'd have to put it on during the night because her skin was cracked and weeping. It would have quite really sore for her, itching. So a month into it, I came across Body Balance, and I started taking it for her because she was so young and she was getting it from my milk. Through that, after 3 months, I suddenly realised that I hadn't been paying much attention to myself, and being in hospital twice in 6 months probably should have been a warning sign. And I was having to sleep for about 3 hours during the day, whether our eldest son liked it or not. He was having quiet time, so I could have a rest while she slept. And then the moment the kids went to bed at 7 o'clock, I would collapse on the couch and go, oh, thank goodness, and then pretty much go to bed by 9, and then drag myself up again in the morning, hobbling like an old woman. And I couldn't understand what was going on. I thought it was my punishment for having my children later in life. And we grow our own food, and it was just like with Matilda's thing, it's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, we grow our food, I was making good whole meals, no fast foods, we were eating pretty well, I thought. But the missing link was obviously clearly the minerals. After 3 months, I suddenly noticed for myself, we'd had a house full of visitors over last Christmas. I'd stayed up, I cooked all the meals, and I'd been quite interactive, and as my husband said, I hadn't been grumpy, which was quite good. And for Matilda, her face had come right down. She still had eczema here and around her neck and on her body, legs, back of her legs, ankles. So she spent last summer covered pretty much from head to toe in clothing, so she couldn't tear herself apart. Like, had the fastest nappy change, and the moment she had her clothes off, she would be ripping at her skin. So I started her, it would have been this time last year, directly on the product herself, because it was just before she had her first birthday. And after 3 days, I'm imagining it, so I took some photos. 9 days later was her first birthday, and I took more photos. And the inflammation in her body dropped right down. Her face cleared completely very quickly. She now, to look at her, she's hard to pick that she was an eczema baby. Her skin is clear. She still gets a little bit behind the backs of her knees. It's amazing, like she spent the summer running around in little dresses. running around like a little new 2-year-old should, and it's just been really liberating. Our 3-year-old son has managed to get through this last winter without getting a lot of the bugs that are going around, like vomiting bugs and things like that. So on that level, on a family, like especially because for 6 months of the year I'm by myself with the kids, I know that they're going to be well. I know that, you know, I'm well to keep up with them as well. And then, you know, my husband's had huge results as well with travelling long distance. On him, like jet lag's been reduced, all that sort of thing. His energy has gone way up, and his thinking on his job, which he needs. So yes, that's our story.
The dog.
Oh, the dog. We have a rehomed pig dog because our dog died 2 years ago, and so we got this dog. Not really a beauty painting, but she had made an operation, like complete overhaul when we got her to try and get longevity out of her. And then it would have been about 1.5 years ago she got a nail bed infection, and after months of antibiotics nothing changed, and eventually we had to take the toe off. And then about 3 months later she got another nail bed infection and another toe, and I was like, oh, this dog only has so many toes, we can't get rid of them all. And I said, do a course of antibiotics, and we did like no response. So then I thought, oh, ding dong, I've got Body Balance. She has now every day about 10 to 20 mils of Body Balance. Her toes have cleared up. She's 13. She is quite youthful for a 13-year-old ex-pig hunting dog, and her arthritis is not as bad, and the fact that her toenails have just like no recurring people, like the vet has looked at her and gone, this is amazing. My parents came after 6 months visiting and they said, what have you done to the dog? She looks incredible. Thank you, Lisa. Thanks.